Hey, Chelsea, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks, Lacey.
This is a hot topic in the military community. I think everybody knows that there's some perks that come with being on active duty, guard or reserve. There is a lot of things, and I feel like it almost becomes urban legend. Some of the stuff is just information passed down to people. So I want to get to some facts here, and I want to start with what are some perks that come with military life that have a financial benefit? Because that's really what people are looking for. It's nice, but if it has a good impact on your money, then it goes a longer way.
Yeah, totally. And the crazy thing about resources and perks is that it is like all word of mouth for the majority of it. So it can be hard to like nail those down. But we've personally used a lot of educational resources so that we can pay for our formal education for a lot less. For me personally, that was like scholarships. I used my MyCAA. I got our scholarship through our branch's aid society to get another like certificate. And my husband, of course, has used his tuition assistance. We've also used tons of travel perks. I think we'll get into a little bit more. And the big ones for our budget have been those travel ones, and then perks that we get from credit cards that have waived fees for military families. We get tons of perks from those, like we earn over $100 a month in dining credits for like Uber Eats or Instacart, and those directly like have a difference on our budget.
Yes, also on time, having food delivered, especially on crazy like weeknights, that's a huge benefit. Not having to make a meal or clean up a meal.
Yes, that is a favorite during deployments and TDYs.
Yes, I also find that when my husband's gone, we eat a lot less. My boys are cool with a grilled cheese. They're cool with, tacos. It's usually I'm making a bigger meal when my husband is home. So I could see that that's also savings, especially if you have those built up points, you can go ahead and use them. You mentioned my CAA, which I think is one that a lot of people don't know about, don't use. Also, the aid societies. I've had the directors on this show to talk about. There are a lot of scholarships that the aid societies provide that people aren't taking advantage of, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes actually I don't think it's little amounts. We're talking like 1,000 here, 2,000 here.
Yes.
That really adds up, especially if you get more than one.
Yes, definitely does.
What are some of the actually, let me back up for a second. I want to start with what is travel hacking? People say this all the time, like you should be doing it. Let's start with what the heck that even is.
Yeah, so travel hacking is when you are using points or perks from a credit card to pay for your travels. And the military has a big advantage through the SCRA, the Service Member Civil Relief Act, and the Military Lending Act. There are 4 lenders that waive annual fees for military families. So the big one that people hear about a lot is that American Express Platinum card, where there are tons of perks, and usually that card would have almost a $700 annual fee that covers the majority of those perks. But military families don't have to pay that annual fee. So you can use all of those annual perks, and then the points that you get from your welcome bonus and from your spending to cover any travel costs.
That American Express one is big. To have that fee waived, then you get all of those other things because you get into some travel lounges, which is very helpful when you're traveling. If you just need a bite to eat instead of having to pay for a snack and a drink, that's a huge help. Helps with Uber, like you said, Uber Eats. Also gives you some airline stuff,
Yeah,
right?
it has airline credits. It's $200 a year right now in incidental airline credits. It also has a $200 annual hotel credit every year. And that's just kind of the start of it. That's the card that most people have or that are familiar with. But there's also a Chase version of that card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which has their best perk is like a $300 annual travel credit. You can use that however you want. A lot of the Amex ones have stipulations, but the $300 Chase Sapphire Reserve one is super easy to use. And then just like your favorite hotel or your favorite airline probably also has a card with waived annual fees. So you can get those free bags, you can get access to their lounge, you can get priority boarding, tons and tons of ways to improve your travel and make your travel less expensive.
With the Chase, there are some rules, correct? I know you have an article on your website about this. Like, there's a system for using these cards, which also interviews some other people. If you don't pay attention, you could be wasting, right? You should have maybe is it the Chase one first or after? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so each institution has different rules. With Chase, they have a rule that you can only be approved for a Chase card if you have opened less than 5 cards in 2 years, which for most people is not an issue at all. If you're really serious about earning millions of points, then that's where you need to be a little more strategic. And you also need to have like at least a good credit score to be approved for these awesome travel cards, because they are like top tier credit cards. And then Amex also has a couple rules. The biggest one that most people should be aware of is that you can only earn the welcome bonus on one card one time. They call it their lifetime rules, and there's speculation that that's actually only 7 years until it falls off your credit report, but I've never tested it, so that's their rules, lifetime.
What about some hotel perks? Because maybe I saw it on social media. I follow you on Instagram, and somebody was actually mentioning it. My conference, MilMoneyCon, and they were saying about the Hilton. Does the Hilton give points to service members to help them with, I'm assuming, travel, because that's the way of life for the military? But what is that perk that Hilton gives?
Yeah, so Hilton, in partnership with NASWA, I could not tell you what it stands for off the top of my head, but they provide 100,000 Hilton points to veterans. It's mostly for retired. Some states will give it to active duty spouses, but to veterans and their spouses, they'll give 100,000 Hilton points to allow you to stay at their hotel while you're pursuing an an employment opportunity. So you have to have a job interview or some necessary training to be approved for those points. But you can use those points for up to a 5-night stay, and if you were going to use those points in conjunction with your spouse, I think you're looking at possibly a 10-night stay. So that is a great one that Hilton does. And they also just in general have a military discount when you are staying at a Hilton. And the majority of they call them the big four, Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, and IHG, they all offer military discounts if you're just staying for fun.
That's 10 days. I did look it up because people were asking for my conference, and you can't use it to attend like a conference or an event, even, if it's a professional one. So I was like, darn it, that would be a really great one to help people come to my conference, but not going to work out.
So as that program has gotten more popular, they have kind of changed the rules on how you can use it. And so that's...
But when you're getting out of the military, that's a big deal. Also for military spouses, because often if your spouse is retiring or separating, you're also going to be moving somewhere and getting a new job too. So that I wonder if you can both use it if you have a separate.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you'll need separate accounts, but you can use it in conjunction.
Dang, that's good. Yeah. So that's 20 nights stay almost.
Oh, no. 10 nights combined. So the average Hilton hotel room is going to cost you 25,000 points a night. And then so that's 4 nights. But they also have this cool perk where you get the 5th night free if you're booking on points. So your service member would get 5 nights, and then the spouse would get 5 nights.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. But that's still really great to help you make that transition. I think that's really important. But that's not for that's active duty, correct?
Yeah, currently it is not for active duty. There are some states that will honor it for active duty spouses, but it's only a couple.
Well, that leads me kind of to my next question is a lot of these, perks for traveling, hotels, credit cards, are they more geared towards active duty than they are for veterans or retirees?
So I'm going to say no. The perks are not. There are, and we can cover as much as you want, but there are like even free cruises, or there's a free hotel stay in the Bahamas that you can do even if you're a veteran. But when we're talking about like travel hacking, that is more geared towards active duty because of the waived annual fees. You can still get more value from your points and perks if you're paying the annual fees. You're just going to have a completely different strategy about what cards you're opening.
Yes, because if you're adding $700 to the plan, that makes it a little bit more expensive and value what's going to happen there.
Yes.
Please do tell me about a free cruise. How can service members or veterans get a free cruise? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it is through Margaritaville at Sea. They have one, and there's another. We can get into as much as you want. There's another one that's free through, okay, I think it's MSC or MSE. I'm not a big cruise person. That's not my travel style. But the Margaritaville at Sea cruise. That one you can book. It's in partnership with GovX. So as long as you can be verified as a member of GovX, that's military members, veterans, and their spouses, you can book that free cruise. They have 4 locations, the Bahamas, Key West, and 2 places in Mexico that you can cruise to. And that is a free cruise fare. You still have to pay port taxes and gratuities, but it can be a really great deal because you can still get a like 4-day, 5-day cruise for a couple $100 for you and your spouse.
And you're paying the travel down there. It's just actual cruise is free.
Yeah, yeah. You would still need to. The Margaritaville at Sea, they only cruise out of Florida. They have 2 ports out of Florida they go out of, so you'd still need to get there. You could use points or perks to get there and make your travels as close to free as you can. But
What are some other little known perks for traveling that people aren't aware of? I feel like that cruise one was one of them.
yeah, that cruise one is huge. The other one, I would say the other like most popular one that a lot of people haven't heard of is the free stay in the Bahamas. It is through Caesar's Palace, and this is kind of a weird thing. So a lot of casinos will give veterans status. And so the free stay in the Bahamas is through Caesar's Palace. You just go take your ID card or your DD-214. They'll give you a veterans card, and it will give you like their second highest or third highest status, and that will allow you to stay. This year it's 4 days for free in the Bahamas. Last year it was 5, so
They're cutting costs.
yeah, it's better to jump on early and take advantage of the perks while they're still around. But that's a really fun one. And there's other casinos that participate and give veterans status. And so that's the other free cruise. And that one you have to go in person in Atlantic City. But that one is actually up to a 10-day free cruise. And that one covers port fees. So that one's like as free as you can get. Yes. Another free cruise, you actually have to go to this casino in Atlantic City in person. But you do the same thing. You show them your veteran ID card or your dependent ID card. And they will give you their like top tier status, which includes up to a 10-day free cruise. And that one even includes port fees. So that one is like as close to free as you can get. You still have to travel to like the departure port, but there are some really great travel perks out there.
You said you have to do that one in person. To actually get the free cruise, you have to go. So you
have to go to Atlantic City. Yeah. So it's not right for everyone, but if you're like already in the East or you have family in that area, but you just go into the casino and give them proof that you are military related.
And they just let you jump on a cruise.
Yeah.
That's wild. I would be worried like this isn't going to work out. Like we've made the trip and they're not going to give us the free cruise.
Yes, and that is as I like share these perks on Instagram, that is always people's concern is like this feels way too good to be true. And it's like it feels that way, but like there are people that want to support military members and show them their gratitude, and so that's one of the great opportunities.
How can people keep track of all of this? Because there's this temptation like, okay, free cruise, but there are some expenses. We have to get there. Probably have to pay for your food and drinks, and you might end up gambling and spending more money than you had planned on. Or the credit cards. Hey, if we are not on active duty, we're not getting that $700 waived. How can people take advantage, but without actually not balancing out? They're not getting the perks. Like if you're spending all this money, it really doesn't work out the math.
Yes, absolutely. So I think a really important part, even before, like, especially if you're active duty and you're gonna go get your Amex Platinum, like, before you do that, you should have a strong understanding of your budget and be able to stick to it and be good at tracking it, because you do not want to be paying that like 25% interest. No one wants to pay extra for the things they're buying. So that's always like my first piece of advice, is to have a solid budget and know how to stick to it. And I think that's like part of the process is like I'm a spreadsheet person, but I know other people like apps. And once you have your budget down, like it is just keeping track of like, okay, did I stay within my budget? And it's only gonna be beneficial if like you already love cruises, you're going on a yearly cruise, how can I make that cost lower? Versus like now I'm trying to fly to the Bahamas every year and spending $1,000 to get there and back for a free stay. That's costing me more. So
Right. Yeah, if you're not a fan of cruises, that wouldn't be probably the one to go after, and might not be worth the additional cost. Versus if you're like, hey, I just like a weekend at the beach, you might want to find a different way to do that instead of making a bigger investment into the cruise.
yeah, so yeah, you still have to kind of prioritize what works for you, and especially with you only having like 30 days of leave, you're not going to be able to fit all the free things in every year. So
Yes, that's true. Where can people start if they really want to get things on their radar and start planning and taking advantage, especially if you are moving towards separation or you're moving towards retirement and there are these benefits that can be used on active duty, and then there's other ones that you can use on veteran or retiree status. Probably want to use up the ones you don't have on active duty before you don't have access to them. So how can people start planning and being aware?
yeah, so how can people start? Once you understand your budget, you're staying within your budget on your debit card, I would start with those credit cards. There is evidence, people share that like they're still not being charged by Amex their annual fees even after they have separated, but that's not always going to be the case. So I would start by using those perks. And I'd also just like kind of look at your family and what your needs are. Like when we started, we were not using our points to take giant trips like we are now. We used our points to actually pay off debt, and once we had like our cars paid off, like then we were going on vacations. And so I think it starts with your understanding of where you're at in your finances already, and then what your goals are for your family, and just focusing on that instead of like getting that FOMO of like, oh my gosh, I need to do everything while I can. Just do what's most important for you. And there are a lot of perks even after you've separated. So I think you'll still be okay. You'll still find a way to make those goals happen.
Yes, I would think that's just like your budget. Like everything has to be managed. I mean, if you join a traveling soccer league with your kid, like still has to be managed. So I want to ask you a couple quick random questions that I ask everybody. First off, what is one resource or tool that you use that makes your life easier?
I use Asana, It is an organizational app. It really helps me keep track of, okay, I put everything on there, like passwords, to-do lists, my like yearly and monthly goals. Everything is on Asana.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, what is your favorite book right now, or your favorite book of all time?
The Rose Code. It is a book about lady code hackers during World War II. It is phenomenal.
Oh, that's a good one. I've never heard of that. Well, I'll be sure to put that link in the show notes. Also put links, I forgot to mention, I'll put links about my CAA, the credit cards, like all of those, the Hilton points thing. Definitely put those all in the show note links. All right, now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, which is game time. And today, in honor of your visit, we're going to be playing Where in the World Am I? So I'm going to give you 5 facts about a country that I probably wish I was in, but I'm not. But just for game's sake, that actually you have traveled to, and you have to guess what country that is. If you get it in 5 clues or less, you win. So
Okay.
I'm going to give the 5 clues. You can guess after them, or you can hear all 5 and then make your guess. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The country I'm in has won the Eurovision Song Contest 5 times. I thought that was actually a pretty fun fact. Okay, number 2. The country I'm in is one of the safest in the world. Which, that sounds awesome to me. Okay, number 3. The country I'm in is in northwestern Europe. Number 4. This is a fun fact. The country I'm in is also where Skype's headquarters is. And number 5, the country I'm in is landlocked.
Oh. Okay.
And just
I
as
got it
remember,
verified.
this is one you've actually been to. So I got it off of your
That makes
website.
it, like, more pressure. Is it the Netherlands?
No, is it
Luxembourg?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I was like, I'm not sure between those two.
Yeah, yes. I thought those were, I was trying to give it one with the Northwestern Europe, but I thought it was very interesting that it said Skype's headquarters is there, and I double-checked that, and it said, yes, it is, so.
Wow, that's super interesting. I didn't know
Yes,
that.
but sounds like a lovely country. I hope you enjoyed that trip.
Yes, that one was amazing. That one, yeah, we used points and visited my husband during his deployment in Europe, and it was super fun. Luxembourg was beautiful.
Well, you didn't necessarily get bragging rights that you won game time on the MILMO show, but I appreciate you playing and being on here. Can you tell everybody listening where they can learn more about you and what you're up to?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at camouflage.perks, or I have a website, camouflageperks.com, and that is where you'll find most of the perks we talked about today and other ones I share.
Wonderful. I will be sure to put links to all of that in the show notes for everybody. Thank you again, Chelsea. I appreciate it.
No, thanks, Lacey.